Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Panchadashi, the 7th chapter of Vidyaranya Swami, and we are at now Sloka 199. Let's chant with it. Let's together. Koyamatmecha vamado koyamatmecheva madau sarvatratma vicharataha ubhayatmakamarabhya kutastas seshyate srutau Kotastas reshyate srutau. Together. Koyamatyeva madau sarvatratma vicharataha ubhayatmakamarabhya kutastam seshyate srutau. So we are discussing first who is the real experiencer, or who is the one who really recognizes that I am Atma, or who is the one who is a knower. And initially we say it's not the Kutastha Chaitanyam, because knowing involves a modification, and therefore Kutastha Chaitanyam being can you close the door, Amma? Kutastha Chaitanyam being the all-pervading consciousness, it cannot know anything, because knowing involves a modification, and being infinite, it cannot undergo a modification. So therefore it is not Kutastha Chaitanya. So should I say it's a reflected consciousness? It cannot be reflected consciousness either, because reflection itself is either you can associate with the Kutastha Chaitanyam, or you can associate it with the reflecting medium, because there is no other thing other than these two. It is a reflection of the Kutastha Chaitanyam by the medium. So you cannot say it's a medium that is knowing, medium being inert, and it doesn't have consciousness of its own, and even the reflected consciousness is coming only from the consciousness Kutastha Chaitanyam only. So what exactly, or who exactly is a knower here? And therefore it says, for the time being, it is both together the RC plus OC. But RC cannot exist without the RM. RM means a reflecting medium. So it is RM plus RC plus OC. So RM is reflecting medium, does not have the capacity to know anything, because it is inert. So even though it is inert, it is needed for reflection, and because it is the one that reflecting, and reflection cannot occur without the all-pervading consciousness. So when you say even Ubhayatmikam, you are talking about from the consciousness point, it is both the all-pervading consciousness as well as the reflected consciousness that is involved in any knowing process, any knowing, any doing, any kartrutvam, bhoktrutvam, enjoyatvam, and jnatrutvam also belongs to that. So for the time being we say it is the combination of the Chidabhasa and the Kutastha Chaitanyam. But Chidabhasa really cannot occur without the medium of reflection. So we have to include all the three only in principle. But by process of negation, we have to arrive at the what we call Pariseshanyayena. By process of elimination, not this, not this, not this, you have to arrive that which is the fundamental, which cannot be pointed out as this. And that's what is being asked by the Yajnavalkya in the discussion between Yajnavalkya and Janaka Maharaj in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is essentially inquire who is the Atma Katamaha iti ukte Yajnavalkyo Vibhodayanna Vijnanamayam Arabhya it is Asangam Tam Pariseshayatu. We studied as a Sangam, it is Asangam. Arabhya Asangam Tam Pariseshayatu. So, Atma, this is Sloka 198. It says, Atma Katama Ityukte, what is exactly is the self or the soul? If you ask, Yajnavalkya Nibodayan, it is asked by Janaka. Yajnavalkya answered Janaka Maharaj in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in the chapter 4, in the Brahmana, first Brahmana, in the fourth mantra, and he starts with Vijnanamayam Arabhya Asangam Tam Pariseshaye. He starts with, it's a Vijnanamaya, is the knower. So who is a knower? It's a mind is a knower, or the buddhi is a knower. Vijnanamaya is the intellectual shape, that's the knower. So that's what is the, everybody's at the normal understanding. How do you know anything? This is through the buddhi only. Without the buddhi, I cannot know. So who is the knower? It's a buddhi knower. So the more I know, the more buddhi is, or contents in the buddhi is. So therefore, everyone's normal understanding starts with it's not because body cannot know, the mind is emotional center. So buddhi is the Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Vijnanamayam is the one that gives you Jnanam. And therefore Vijnanamaya Kosha Arabhya Asangatvam Pariseshade. So first we start with the Vijnanamaya. In the Janaka Maharaj was told that it's Vijnanamaya. Then he goes to next step. It's not even a Vijnanamaya because it's called the Adhyaropa Apavada. We start with that. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, we start with the Annamaya Kosha, and this is not Annamaya Kosha. This is that because of which the whole universe came, by which it is sustained, into which it goes back. That was the question. This is the Yatova Imani Bhutani Jayante, Ena Jatani Jivanti, Yat Prayamti Abhisham Vishanti, Tad Vijnasasva, Tad Brahmeti, that is Brahman. So the Bhrigu Maharshi was taught by his father, the Varuna, that this is the, go and contemplate on it. So the Bhrigu Maharshi contemplates and comes with the solution that it is because of Annamaya. Annamaya means because of the food only the whole universe sees. From food is born, by food it is sustained, into food it goes back. Therefore food should be the Brahman. That is negated later. So it's accepted at one level but negated later and go to Manomaya Kosha. Then Manomaya Kosha is accepted at some point, then it's negated until it goes to Vijnanamaya Kosha. And Vijnanamaya Kosha is accepted until one reaches the level of thinking to higher. What is higher? Because that Kutastha Chaitanyam, that pure consciousness because of which the buddhi is activated, because buddhi is also an upadhi. Upadhi means instrument of knowledge. Buddhi is also an object of knowledge, and therefore it is asangam tam pariseshayatu. So by processing of elimination, it's not even a buddhi, then what is left? What is left is the one who is trying to eliminate everything which cannot be pointed out, the subject, that is Atma alone is left, and that's called Pariseshanyayam. So Pariseshayatu, that Pariseshayatu, that which is in response, that which is remaining after elimination of everything. By negating everything, I arrive at this truth. How do I arrive at by negating? Because I can negate everything and anything, but I cannot negate myself, because I have to be there to negate myself. So I cannot negate myself, called Pariseshanyayena. I have to arrive at the truth I am, which is a subject and cannot be objectified. So now we are chanting the sloka 199. We take Koyam Atma iti evam adav Koyam Atma Kaha ayam Atma. What is this Atma? Iti evam adav. So in the beginning, when somebody asks what is Atma, so in the beginning, iti evam adav, in the beginning, sarvatra srutav, everywhere in the Shruti also starts with this. says that Atma Vicharataha Ubhayatmakam. Ubhayat means both together is explained as the Atma. Together Ubhaya means here is the RC plus OC. What is RC? Reflected consciousness, that is called Chidabhasa, and OC is Kutastha Chaitanyam, that is pure consciousness, that is enlivening. So if you are looking at my hand, so what is that because of which I can see the hand? So what should I say? Should I say the original light or the reflected light? What you are seeing is only reflected light. Reflected light cannot be there without the original light. So what exactly is the one that illumines the object? If you say, I will say for the time being, we say it is due to combination of these two, original consciousness and the reflected consciousness. Original light and the reflected light. And the reflected light requires a reflecting medium. Without my hand, original light is there, but you cannot see. So I need a buddhi, reflecting medium, and the reflecting medium has to reflect the consciousness. But if I put a stone there, it may not reflect the consciousness, because that's what people say. If consciousness is infinite, how come there are a lot of inert things? Whole universe appears to be inert. If they say Brahman is consciousness, Brahman being infinite, consciousness is infinite, but I see everything in unconscious things only. If I say that's only because only the objects are reflecting medium are not capable to reflect the consciousness part, only they reflect the existence aspect. It's not a part, we don't call it a part, because Chit, Sat-Chit are not parts. What we say is, the inert medium, only the existence part is reflected, therefore it has no capacity to reflect the conscious part. For conscious part also to get reflected, you need a subtle material like the buddhi. So buddhi can reflect both the existent part and the conscious part, but it doesn't reflect the Ananda part unless the mind is calm and serene. Only in those circumstances, even not only existence and consciousness, but reflects also the Ananda part also. So it's a reflecting medium problems, and right now we say, Kaha I am Atma. Who are you? Or what is the self? What do you think your self is? So I don't like myself, or I don't like this self, and so on. If you say, what exactly are we talking about? Iti evam ado, in the beginning, sarvatra shrutau, in every shruti statements, in most of the shruti statements, Atma vicharataha ubhayatmakam, in the both are being discussed as the Atma. What are they both? Original consciousness, that is Kutastha Chaitanyam, and the reflected consciousness, which is Chidabhasa also. So because it has to be conscious entity can only know, unconscious entity cannot know. So who is the knower? Has to be conscious entity. When I say I am a conscious entity, I know that I am there, I know I exist, because being a conscious entity, I am self-conscious, therefore I am aware of the things, and also I am aware of myself also. So therefore that consciousness, if you see, that has to be conscious entity, so I reject the inert entity is not that. So what is left only is, even if I reflect the buddhi, what is left is Chidabhasa and the original consciousness. So it says, Atma vicharataha ubhayatmakam, in the inquiry of who is Atma or what is Atma, ubhayatmakam, OC plus RC. RC of course involves RM also. RM means reflecting medium. Buddhi is also involved in the RC, because without a medium there is no reflection. But give importance to instead of medium, the consciousness aspect of it. Therefore we say Ubhaya here. OC means original consciousness, which is Kutastha Chaitanyam, and RC, the reflected consciousness. Now starting with Arabhya, so we start with both the OC and RC, then Kutasthaha Seshyate, by process of negation of, it's not the Kutastha Chaitanya, it's not a reflection, but it is the original light that really, because of which you are able to see. Reflection helps me to recognize the original. So looking at my hand, it is the reflected light that reaches the retina, using the reflected light, you have to, or I had to think that there is an original light. I cannot see the original light, but I can only see reflected light. But reflected light I had to use by rejecting it's not the reflected light, because it's only reflection, and the reflected light depends upon the reflecting medium, and the medium may be a crooked or open or light or impure and so on. So you don't give all the attributes of the reflecting medium that associated with the reflected consciousness, but go to the original, which is devoid of all the attributes, and that I had to use a viveka. Viveka means discriminative intellect, and which is nityam and which is anityam. Reflection is there as long as the reflecting medium is there, even though original consciousness is all the time there. So reflection cannot occur without the reflecting medium. If the reflecting medium is folded, you will see folded reflection. If it is open, it is open reflection. But if there is no medium, there cannot be anything that can be recognized, and therefore one has to be careful. Using the Chidabhasa, I had to cognitively understand the original consciousness. This is what the self-realization involves. Not I need the mind. Without the mind, no reflection will occur. Reflection is required. What is people say that we have to go beyond the mind. It is beyond the mind means don't go pay attention to the reflecting medium. Go beyond. Beyond means what? Beyond that, because of which I can see. So yet yes, yan manasa na manute yenahur manomatam tadeva brahma tvam viddhi nedam ididam upasate. The Kenopanishad says that which mind cannot think, that because of which mind has the capacity to think, that alone is the Brahman, not this what you worship. So in the same way, yet because of which one can see the hand, not because that it's not the hand, but that because of which hand can be seen, that is the light of consciousness, or the light that illumines the hand. So it's called the Pariseshanyaya. Pariseshanyaya means by process of elimination, discarding. It's not, we have to arrive at that which is all pervading consciousness that I am. So who is really enjoyer here? The question that raises, if we say it's Kutastha is not an enjoyer. The Kutastha means the original consciousness is not an enjoyer, because enjoyment involves a modification, and being infinite it cannot undergo. So first thing we reject that it is not all pervading consciousness is enjoyer. And the second is it cannot be the Chidabhasa. Chidabhasa is only reflection of the reflecting medium, and either you associate with the original or associate with the medium. Medium being inert, it cannot know. The original is pure, we already negated. So what exactly is Jiva? What exactly is a knower? And if everything is only appearance only, then why then how we are seeing everybody as real? How is everything looks very real? Because we say whole world is real and we are operating everything. We are hungry, we are finding dukkham, we are finding sukham, we are finding day is coming, we get up, you have to do this, you have to do that. All seems to be like a rat race, and you say it's not real. So how everybody feels this is real, other things only your discussions which may not have any meaning, because it's all intellectual stuff, and we are talking about reality. I have to discover myself, I have to sit down and know what the truth is, and all that we will ask. So that's why the objective scientists reject this, because they are looking at so-called reality, and reality is that which can be proved by the pratyaksha pramana and so on. So they have to use the five senses to determine whether it's real or not. So here we are going to see how an ajnani looks at it and where the problems are. We'll take sloka 200. Kutastha satyatam swasmin. Kutastha satyatam swasmin. Adhyasyatma vivekatah. Adhyasyatma vivekatah. Tatvikim bhoktrutam matva. Tatvikim bhoktrutam matva. Nakadachit jihasati. Nakadachit jihasati. Together. Kutastha satyatam swasmin. Adhyasyatma vivekatah. Tatvakim bhoktrutam matva. Nakadachit jihasati. So Atma avivekataha kutastha satyatvam. So Atma avivekataha, because of not knowing the self, the most of the ignorant people, or the most of the ignorant people means most of the 90% majority of us, kutastha satyatvam. So reality to the consciousness that is pervading everywhere, recognizing that I am conscious entity, that everybody knows that they are a conscious entity, but that thinking that not knowing the consciousness is all pervading, I am localizing the consciousness with the equipment, say I am this and I am conscious entity. So kutastha satyatam, reality of the pure consciousness, swasmin, in one's own self, that means in one's own body, mind, intellect. So adhyasya, so having superimposed the pure consciousness on oneself. Tatvakim, say that matva, so in the mind, say giving a reality to that, knowing that. Kadachit na jihasati. So no one wants to really inquire what is the nature of the consciousness or what is the nature of the truth. So if you look at the whole universe, so millions of people running around like a rat race, but nobody wants to stop and look at what am I doing, what is the purpose of life, is there a meaning in this, and what exactly is a knower, who am I? No, people don't ask even that question, because people assume that I am this body, mind, intellect is I am. So whenever the body, mind, intellect is there, so I am there. When the body is there, I am there. If body is not there, I am not there. So dehe pushte aham pushtihi, or dehe nashte aham nashta. So when the body is fat, I am fat. When the body is lean, I am lean. So properties of the body superimposed on myself, because the body is also idam. Idam means idam sariram kaunteya kshetramiccha vidhiyate. Krishna says this is a body. This is kshetram, field, and there is a kshetrajna, one who is a knower of the field, different from the known. So knower has to be different from the known. Known is an object and knower is a subject. So subject is different from an object. But nobody inquires who is that subject, what is the nature of the subject. Everybody assumes I am the knower. Who is the knower? The intellect is taken for granted is the knower, because without the intellect you cannot know anything. So intellect is an instrument to know, but the instrument is given the importance as a subject itself, as a knower, and I use the buddhi to know something. So I am different from buddhi because I can use the buddhi. So, but that is forgotten. People do not inquire because of avivekataha, because of not inquiring. Viveka is a discriminative intellect, not able to use proper discriminative intellect to differentiate what is real and what is not real, and what is that which is changing and what is that is changeless. I give importance to the superficial, just superimposed properties as I am this, I am this, I am this, and that's what is the majority. So manushyanam sahasreshu, Krishna says in the Gita, thousands of people are there, but very few people are really inquiring to this. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. Even those who try to inquire, yatadanam siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. Even those who inquire, only few people make an effort to really understand their truth, and they are the ones who really try to know me. And therefore Krishna gives himself, even at that time, the statistics of thousands of people were very few people really interested in the subject. Of those who are interested, very few people really make an effort to understand it clearly. So therefore, this is the normal, the 99.99%, everybody assumes that because of avivekataha, because of ignorance. But they do not know that they are ignorant also. That is what another bigger problem. If I know that I am ignorant, at least there is a solution to the problem. Not knowing ignorance and then and claiming that I am a knowable person, therefore you cannot teach him. It's like waking up a person who pretending to be asleep. If he is asleep, you can wake him up. But if he is awake, there is no need to wake up. But if he is pretending to sleep, how can you wake him up? So those who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool. You have to leave him, because let him come to his own way of once he will understand that what is the purpose of all this and so on and so forth. So he has to mature enough in order to even question the validity of the reality that he assumes for the world and for himself. So therefore, Kutastha Satyatam is called Adhyasa, means I am superimposing the properties of pure consciousness on the body mind which is inert, and superimposing the properties of the body mind intellect on the consciousness is called mutual adhyasa, superimposition. So I say I am, so I know I am a conscious entity, I know I am an existent entity, but I am what? I am this. This means this is an inert entity. So I am superimposing the conscious existent part onto this which is the unconscious entity. That's called adhyasa, superimposition of this properties of this on this and the property of the other one on the consciousness. That's because of avivekataha. Remove them, take. Okay, now we'll go to 201 sloka. Bhokta swasyaiva bhogaya, bhokta swasyaiva bhogaya, patijayadi michyati, patijayadi michyati, yesha laukika vruttantaha, yesha laukika vruttantaha, srutya samyagamaditaha, srutya samyagamaditaha. Together. Bhoktra swasvaiva bhogaya patijayadi michyati yesha laukika vruttantaha srutya samyagamaditaha. So bhokta, I am an enjoyer, swasya eva, in one's own self, bhogaya, on the objects of enjoyment. So I am enjoyer and this is to be enjoyed. That's patijaya adi. So this is my husband, this is my wife, this is so on, adi, etc., etc. So this is a teaching by Yajnavalkya to his wife Maitreyi. So his husband is teaching actually to the wife in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and he says that the wife loves husband and husband loves his wife, all that we say, but exactly nobody loves anybody. Okay, because his husband is teaching, so we have to listen to him. So he says, because what she loves, when I love my husband, what she loves is, she loves happiness only. So happiness she associated with the husband, therefore she loves husband. So what she loves is only happiness, source of happiness. But source of happiness is not in the husband, but comes from her own self. And what she loves husband is only love for her own self, not for the husband's sake. And that's how he teaches the Maitreyi to the Yajnavalkya teaches. Here everything I say, I like this, I like this, I like this. So all the objects of enjoyment and love for it, starting from even husband, wife, pati, jaya is wife, pati, husband, adi, etc., ichchati. So I desire this, I desire that. So desire for the objects are only not for the object's sake, because objects themselves do not have happiness. Objects are just objects. But I associate happiness with the object, therefore it's my value system that's really different, and that is what is causing a, says, Yesha laukika ruttantaha. This is common across everybody. Laukika means it is across the board and everybody assumes this is so. So I am unhappy, if I have that I am going to be happy. So that's why all the enjoyment of this object, that object is only for my happiness. If the object gives me suffering, I am not going to have it. So I won't go for it if it causes me pain. But the happiness, because I associate happiness with the object, I am going after the object. So bhokta swasya is for my sake. So objects are for my sake, not for the object's sake. This is the teaching Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. This is the teaching by the Yajnavalkya, and that's what essentially is repeating the statement of the Upanishad here. Bhokta swaiva bhogaya patijayadi michati. Yesha laukika vrittantaha shrutya samyagamadishu aditaha. So the enjoyer, the Atma, swasya eva, one's own self, bhogaya, the enjoyment of whether it's a husband or a wife or any object, is Esha Laukika Vrittantaha. It's only for the transactional purpose, it's only for the normal people. Shrutya, it is Satyam Anuditaha. So this is the reality is superimposed on the plurality and assume that that is real, and that's what is the whole problem is. And that's why the Yajnavalkya teaches why Maitreyi says, my dear Are, there is not really real, because there is no happiness in the objects, because we associate happiness in the objects, therefore we are going after the object, but happiness comes from our own self, and that's what he is going to tell more and more in the next sloka. Let's do 202. Bhogyanam bhoktruseshatvat Bhogyanam bhoktruseshatvat Ma bhogyeshvanurajyatam Ma bhogyeshanurajyatam Bhoktaryeva pradhanoto Bhoktaryeva pradhanotaha Anuragam tam viditruti Anuragam tam viditsati. Together. Bhogyanam bhoktraseshatvat ma bhogyeshvanurajyatam bhoktyareva pradhanotaha anuragam tam viditruti. So bhogyanam means the objects of bhogam, objects of enjoyment. Bhoktraseshatvat and bhoktraseshatvat, but that because of which I am enjoying, that means the means of enjoyment. And the objects became the means of enjoyment for me to experience, for the experiencer. Bhogeshu, in the objects, ma anurajyatam, do not get attached. So this is an instruction. It says don't get attached to the objects, because there is no real happiness there. Because I am enjoying it and I am getting, so I want this, I want this. People go like a rat race from morning to evening, and day in and day out, a whole life they spend trying to gather things, because I am trying to acquire more wealth, because wealth is a source of happiness. So that's what is assumed. Therefore, I am going after, I am getting attached to it. So bhogyanam, objects of enjoyment. Bhoktruseshatvat, so because they are giving me the enjoyment, because they are means of enjoyment, I am going after the enjoyment, after the objects of enjoyment. Bhogeshu. My ma anurajyatam, ma here is do not get anurajyatam, do not get attached to it. So what should I do? Should I go after objects or not objects? So first, say, recognize that the objects themselves do not give you happiness. So it may give you comfort. Don't get mixed with the comfort and the happiness. So I can be comfortable with the air conditioner and all that, and comfortable in Dunlop bed, but I may not be able to sleep properly because my mind is irritated. So comforts need not give me happiness. Comfort can give me comforts only. So I can be comfortably unhappy. Or people do not have any comforts but still are happy with whatever they have. So it is not the comforts that really, objects that really, it is the contentment of the mind, that's what is important. Contentment of the mind comes when I am content with what I have and what I am. With myself, if I am, Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati, if I am already full, then I don't go after things. If I am satisfied, that's why we said in the Taittiriya Upanishad, at every level of happiness, says Manushyanandaha, Devanandaha, Gandharvanandaha, everyone is 100 times more happy than the other guy. But in the same sloka, it says Sotriyasya Kamaya Tasya, Sotriyasya Kamaya Tasya, it repeats every time. So at Manushyanandaha, one who owns the whole universe, and also young enough to digest anything he eats, his happiness is only one unit. and next level of 100 times more happy the other guy is, and the other third fellow is 100 times more of the second guy. Like that it goes all the way to Prajapati, and his happiness is almost like 10 to the power of 26 times the Manushyananda. But everybody is at every Ananda level. Scripture says same happiness one can get provided is Stotriyasya Akamayatasya, the one who knows this Shruti. Shruti means one who knows the Vedanta, and at the same time Akamayaha, does not have any more desire for the objects outside. That means he is self-contented. That means he is happy with what he has. There is no more longing mind or a wanting mind or a desiring mind. Mind is already happy with what I have here. If it comes, is okay. If it doesn't come, also is okay. Not that he is going to avoid or hate anything. Whatever that comes because of the prarabdha, he accepts it, and that is what is a state of mind of equilibrium of a jnani. And that, therefore, do not get attached to unnecessarily. That's called vairagyam. Vairagyam is not giving away things. Vairagyam is not getting attached, not depending on it for your happiness. If they depend on you, you let them depend, because they think that you give happiness. But from your point, this is not to depend on anything other than yourself is a slavery. That's what is the Upanishad statement. And also the Manusmriti says so. Says Atmanas, the one who depends on anything other than himself is in slavery. So, and then one who depends on himself, Atmanas kama sarv, the one who is Atmani eva Atmanas tushtaha. That's what Krishna says in the Sita Prajna. Says, who is Sita Prajna? See, the one Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatam Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha. Says Sita Prajna. So one who is reveling in himself by himself, because the self that he revels in is complete and full by itself, and that is essentially is understanding of that. So bhogyanam bhoktu seshatvat ma bhogyeshvanurajyatam bhoktaryeva pradhana anurantam viditrati. So do not get attached to unnecessarily to the objects. So take whatever that comes as a prasada buddhi. Prasada buddhi means is it coming from the Lord because of your previous actions, whatever the prarabdham is, a good or bad, accept it, because there is no point unnecessarily getting agitated, because in principle you are full by yourself. So here you are talking about vairagya aspect of it. And by lack of attachment to the objects of enjoyment, they are not for their sake, and it is for my sake. If Vishnu Purana is now quoting that now. Ya priti ravivekanam, ya priti ravivekanam, vishayeshvanupayini, vishayeshvanapayini, tvam manusmarataha sat, tvam manusmarataha sami, tvam manusmarataha Swamanusmarataha sa me hrudayan mapasarpatav me hrudayan mapasarpatu. Together, ya priti ravivekanam vishayeshvanapayini swamanusmarataha sa me hrudayan mapasarpatu. So avivekenam, so he's still talking about the ignorant person. So avivekenam, of the ignorant, Vishayeshu, for the objects of ya pritihi. So his loves for the objects is essentially anapayini, is very firm, and firm anusmarataha. So he remembers that devotion, me hrudayat ma apasarpatu. From the heart he may not be lost, the prayer for the bhakti. So here in the Vishnu Purana, a person says, "Oh Lord, please have a devotion, please let me have the devotion towards you as much as an ignorant person has a devotion for the objects of happiness." So he says, this is from the Vishnu Purana. So ya priti avivekanam, whatever the ignorant people has a priti, a desire for the objects outside, same love for the objects outside. He loves the object because they bring happiness. So I want this, I want this. So any love for the object so intense, and therefore he is working day in and day out to get the object for happiness. And same happiness, same love let me have towards you, towards the Lord. So this is the Bhakta's quotation, Bhakta's request to the Lord. Oh Lord, let me have a prayer to love for you that much. And that's what is a quotation from the Vishnu Purana, and that's what he is doing. So we will stop here, but there seems to be some signal here. So we'll come back. This is Vidyaranya is talking about how ignorant person looks at it, and what knowledge should be required, and why detachment, vairagya, and sadhana, the practice is required in order to abide in the knowledge. We'll come back again with the 204 sloka. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.